Alright, for all you naysayers that did not really know why Nikki Bella was out, we end up finding out tonight what she was out for, and I can't necessarily say that, well, all naysayers, because I wasn't completely sure myself because they were very vague about it. But we end up finding out tonight on Raw that Nikki Bella is out with a major neck injury, and she's going to have major surgery sometime this week, and it's a possibility that she may or may not return because of neck injury, and we know how neck injuries go. We know that Edge had to go through it, and Edge's final match was WrestleMania 27 against Alberto Del Rio for the title, and he ended up having to vacate it. The same thing happened with Daniel Bryan. He ended up having a serious neck injury, and his his title reign didn't last that long. So we know how neck injuries go, and there's a huge chance, maybe a 75% chance, possibly 80%, that she's not going to be returning. So when the Bella Twins leave, the Bella Twins are gone, especially Brie, and we all know why Brie's leaving. She's leaving to start a family with Daniel Bryan, especially, while he's healthy. And it's a huge chance that Nikki might not be coming back either. But all I can say is, she's a fighter. We might see her soon. Who knows? And it looks like that things are pretty much on their edge for the Divas division. And I'm looking forward to this because I was worried about WrestleMania 32. But at this point, it looks like they're starting to sum up to be a decent card, because they really did tease a lot of feuds that's coming up. Now, for this Raw, I will say this. There were some amazing moments, and then there were some subpar moments. But I will say that for the beginning and the opening of the show, when you finally had Triple H come out as the champion, of course, Triple H throws a phenomenal promo. And, it was amazing. And it's Triple H. He's going to always throw really great promos. And it was nice to see him as a champion. But I don't, and for those that don't, well, you probably already know by now, I did not do a Royal Rumble review. I've had issues with my feed, but I am going to go back and watch it again sometime tonight, so you will actually have a really open-minded review of it. I did see the show, and I did see the ending, even though I didn't agree with Triple H being champion, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm going to wait until my review and actually have a thorough view of it before I actually make, my opinions about it. But anyway, moving on from there. I will say that the best match of the night, in my opinion, is AJ Styles versus Y2J. Something I didn't think I would ever see in a very long time. But these guys had a well-paced, well-executed match. There were some sloppy points. Don't get me wrong. Not all of it was well executed. There were some sloppy points. Regardless, it was a phenomenal match, well-paced, and it literally got the crowd going. So for those that actually talk about how the crowd is and everything, I'm going to be real. When it comes to Miami, of course, will cheer for its own. They will have a huge major pop for its own. But anything that comes from any other place, in Florida, especially Orlando, you're not going to see a lot of people cheer for them. And that's just how it is in Miami. But, I guess some people do consider now Miami to be, Orlando to be the stepchild of Miami, and before it was the reverse. Maybe it's just my humble opinion. But honestly, you're not going to really see a lot of people cheering for NXT folk in Miami, since NXT is based out of Orlando. So that's just how it is, and it's not that the crowd is bad, it's just because of where it's from. That's pretty much how it is with every single city in this country. They're going to cheer for the hometown heroes. Shoot, it's anywhere in the country. You're going to cheer for your hometown heroes. And that's just how it is. And it really wasn't a big deal, but it was a shame that Sasha Banks didn't get a big pop as she did when she got in Orlando, but that was NXT Central. So I guess you can kind of expect that. The same thing in Miami. You're not going to really see a lot of people cheer for anyone from NXT in Miami. But as for AJ Styles, the same thing. TNA's home front before wherever they're at now was in Universal Studios in Orlando. Hence why a lot of people did not cheer so much for AJ Styles down there in Miami. And I kind of was like, okay. And the same thing with Roman Reigns. Since Roman Reigns, I think, is from Miami, that's probably the reason why he has such a huge pop. And I was confused. I thought it was still in Orlando, but it wasn't. But either or, I'm getting way off topic here. The one thing I'm going to say about the show is that they made a good decision to have AJ Styles versus Y2J in the middle of the entire show instead of towards the end after The Rock. Because The Rock was like the equivalent of the streak. You get emotionally drained after all the laughing, after all the hype, after all the adrenaline that goes through you, after The Rock is on screen, and when The Rock leaves, you're just done. And having that like 3-on-2 was just flat out stupid, because anything after The Rock, you're just completely done. You don't care about anything else. So they had The Rock in a good spot. They had him towards the end, and they had the decision made towards the end because it makes you want to watch it longer to find out what was going to happen. And leading on to the end of the show, it wasn't such a good payoff in my opinion. It just wasn't. And the reason why I say it is this, because it just seems so ridiculously predictable. Having Roman Reigns versus Dean Ambrose versus the Beast Incarnate, Brock Lesnar. Why? You might as well just give Brock Lesnar the chance to fight at WrestleMania. That's how it's going to be anyway. Because number one, Roman Reigns could not beat him. He barely lasted in that match. He almost, literally, he nearly, it was just as bad as John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam of 04. I mean, SummerSlam of 2014. So yeah, like, or was it 2015? Either or, it was pretty much the worst SummerSlam of John Cena's career. And it was same equivalent as that. And even though it wasn't as bad because Roman Reigns had some defense, it wasn't enough. So I doubt that Roman Reigns could beat him, no matter how hard he freaking tries. And I doubt that Dean Ambrose can beat him, unless it's written for him to do so. I do not want Roman Reigns versus Triple H. I don't. I want this match to be interesting. I want this match to seem brutal. Not seem brutal, is brutal. I want the match to be so believable to where that you can literally see the fight in the person who is fighting for that title. Because we all know that Triple H struggled against Brock Lesnar in every match that he was in. And when he did win, it was literally by the hair on his face. So honestly, I don't want Roman Reigns to go against Triple H, even though people are like, it has to be a comeuppance story. Sorry, dude. The comeuppance story has got to be earned. And it has to be realistic. It can't be handed to him. And I will say this, that it was a good call that he did not keep the title at Royal Rumble. But I don't really see this being a good match if Roman Reigns is in it. I just don't. Not right now. I mean, they kind of missed the bar a long time ago. And if they do it now, I don't think it's going to still be a good payoff. But something is telling me that they're going to have a David versus Goliath style match. And they're going to write it and script it to the hilt. And make Roman Reigns beat up his own brother. Causing Dean Ambrose to go heel, which is stupid because he's already a freaking anti-hero. Which means he's already crossed that neutral line. So he doesn't really need to be heel. But somehow they're going to put him in position to be heel. And I can see that Brock Lesnar is going to lose this. So where is Brock Lesnar going to be for WrestleMania, because Fastlane is the last pay-per-view leading on up to WrestleMania. Because I do not think they're having any in March, but I could be wrong. They might have Elimination Chamber if they decide to still have it in March, but as far as I know, they're going to take a month off. And then they're going to go, then they're going to go straight to WrestleMania. As far as I know, I could be wrong. They may change their minds. But regardless, guys, I'm just going to say this. Raw in itself was interesting. It was very intriguing. They set up a whole lot of feuds. They set up AJ Styles versus Chris Jericho, possibly, even though it'll be a stupid feud to have because it's not really worth anything. Especially the fact that that Chris Jericho lost clean. And speaking of Chris Jericho, we all know that Chris Jericho's purpose in the WWE right now is to put over new talent. That's all he's for. We know this. We've seen him in every match he's been in, and he has always lost against new talent, but he's always given them a fight. So him actually having a feud with AJ Styles is stupid because he lost clean. It's really no intrigue there. It's no anxiety there. It's no build up there. So it would be stupid to have a feud with these two. But they teased it, and it may be a possibility that this is going to probably be either in Fastlane or WrestleMania. Then, the one thing that makes me happy is that they finally set up a 3-4 horsewomen feud, or a 3 horsewomen feud against Sasha Banks, against Charlotte and Becky Lynch. We got a possible triple threat for the Divas title at WrestleMania with these 3 women. Don't do it on Fastlane. Do not do it on Fastlane. If they're smart, they would have this for WrestleMania. And if they bring out Bayley, oh my gosh, I will lose my freaking mind. If we have the 4 Horsewomen debut at WrestleMania, I will lose my gourd. But then we had another random Divas match with Paige somehow, I guess, being a face again with Natalya. I don't necessarily know why, but we never know why. And then we got Brie Bella with Alicia Fox. But honestly, I didn't really care about that. They should have just had one Divas moment and that was it. I mean, they talked about the Divas Revolution. It's not the revolution with those women. It's the revolution with NXT chicks. That's how it is, period. But other than that, The Miz versus Kalisto, the saddest moment ever. Because The Miz got no respect, zero respect since WrestleMania 27. Ever since WrestleMania 27, he has lost, well, after it, he has pretty much lost all respect in that company. And he had to fight for years to even get noticed. Seriously, it's a shame. It really, really is. And I don't think he's going to ever reach that peak again. And now that Kalisto beat him, that's even worse. But despite all that, that's just how it is with The Miz. Nothing you can really do about that. But I will say that the moment of the night definitely was The Rock. When we actually did see The Rock, yeah, there were rumors that he was on crack or doing cocaine. But I'm gonna be real with you. The Rock was high on The Rock. He gets high on himself pretty much all the time. You can tell that dude was on fire. And he just loves what he does. He loves speaking. He loves what he does. He did that whole same shtick that he did since, well, ever. And he pretty much tagged everybody behind the stage, made Big Show cry, told The Miz to go take his car around, pretty much made all kinds of innuendo towards Lana. Old. But regardless of that, the moment of the night definitely was his encounter with the New Day. And finally, he talked about those unicorn horns on his head. And I, for the longest, was like, please, just talk about the horns. And he did, because it looks stupid on him every night. But it was a blast. It was so much fun seeing The Rock there. The Rock literally could have unloaded on the New Day, but he kind of restrained himself. And it was also nice that they finally let those guys that dressed up as the legends in the front row and said nothing to them. That made me happy, because I know that a few years back when they actually let them in, they turned them around and refused to let them go out, and they actually ejected them out of the arena. But this time they allowed them to stay there front row. Awesome, excellent, I loved it. And the fact that he kind of picked them out, he's like, this is the moment when we go off script. I love The Rock. I love The Rock and his moments where he just literally just improvs everything, and it's just great. It's phenomenal. And the moment that the New Day had the encounter with not only his cousins, the Usos, but also with The Rock, awesome moment of the night. Seriously, awesome moment of the night. Moment of the freaking year for now. But like I said, the ending was just flat out stupid. Well, I'm not going to say stupid. I'm just going to say this. Just like I said at the beginning, The Rock segment was the equivalent of the streak. You're already tapped out. You've already feel satisfied. You don't really want to go further. But if you really do care about what's going to happen, that's why they were holding out on that. But I didn't care about that handicap match. I really didn't care about Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the League of Nations. I did not care at all about that. Rusev had his butt handed to him. I guess he already had, thoughts in his head about Lana possibly being with The Rock and what she was doing with him in his hotel room. And I honestly think that the whole kayfabe fiance thing is going to probably be done. I wouldn't be surprised if they break up, and if they don't, I'd be shocked. But other than that, my overall thoughts is this was a pretty decent setup to WrestleMania. They had a lot of feuds that they decided to push for WrestleMania, and they really do need to have a full card. So they did a great job with the teasing, as well as actually showing AJ Styles on Raw at his debut after the Royal Rumble against Chris Jericho. Amazing. And The Rock, of course, he was the highlight of the freaking night. He's always the highlight of the night. But I really think that it was unnecessary to have the Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns versus the League of Nations, because they literally teased a Shield return. The only problem is we are missing Seth Rollins. So it was a bad idea to do that without Seth. Like, seriously, it would have been great, but they've been teasing the Shield to reunite for years. And honestly, it wouldn't make any sense to do that because they're all hot on their own, except for Roman. Well, Roman he's kind of a mixed bag. But I will say Dean Ambrose is definitely hot, and people love Seth. They love to hate Seth. So they're all good separate. So having them together really wouldn't make any sense for them to be there for long. But other than that, they have been teasing for the whole Shield reunite for years. But I don't know where they're going to be going with this. And it really would have been nice to actually see Triple H come out and actually make a comment about who was going to compete at Fastlane since he's the champ, other than Stephanie. But still, all I can say is that this was a decent setup for WrestleMania. I enjoyed myself. The Rock was hilarious. Even though the ending was just pointless to me, it still set up well for WrestleMania. It did its job, and I can't complain there. But guys, I want to hear your thoughts about tonight's Raw. Leave a comment in the comment section below or send a video response. I am curious to hear your thoughts about Raw and how it should have panned out if you have different opinions. But other than that, I will have a Royal Rumble review as soon as I actually rewatch the Royal Rumble and get a better perspective on how it actually turned out, because I had issues with my feed live. But still, I will go back and watch it again on demand, so I'll be able to get an open perspective, and you'll probably hear a review from me possibly sometime this week. But other than that, guys, I am done here. Nature Girl 30 signing off. Peace out, y'all. Later.